One day, my grandfather and I found ourselves in a bank, unaware of what was about to happen. As soon as we entered, we were met by an arrogant manager who, without hesitation, looked us up and down and declared, "I have no time for those who have no money." But my grandfather, with incredible calm, faced him with dignity. "You don't know who I am," he said. "I will take all my money out of this bank." Suddenly, the manager's face went pale. Want to find out what triggered this drastic change of scenery? Follow the story to the end for an unforgettable lesson in dignity and respect. But first, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss the next exciting stories. Enjoy the show. In the quiet town of Montclair, there lived a young man named Adrian, who grew up with his grandfather Elian. Adrian, since his childhood, had formed an unbreakable bond with his grandfather, a man who had worked hard to build a prosperous farm, the fruit of years of sweat and determination. Elian was not only a successful farmer, but also a man of great generosity, always ready to help others. Adrian, together with his brothers, spent much of his free time on his grandfather's farm, where every day was an opportunity to learn valuable lessons about life. Their family gatherings were always filled with laughter, shared stories, and the unique warmth that only a united family can offer. Adrian's father, Nestor, married to Elian's daughter, was a businessman who believed in the value of individual work. While respecting his father-in-law, Nestor tried to carve out his own path, believing that success should come from one's own efforts. Although the family did not depend on Elian's wealth, they lived simply but never knew poverty. Adrian, now 21, was studying economics at university and working as a waiter in a local cafe. Despite his academic and work commitments, he dreamed of following in his grandfather's footsteps and building a successful future. One day, during one of his shifts at the cafe, the bank manager, Hugo, came in for a break. Hugo was known in town for his surly temper and sense of superiority. That morning, the cafe was particularly crowded, and Hugo, visibly annoyed, tried to skip the line. Adrian politely told him that he would have to wait his turn, but Hugo, irritated, replied, "I am the bank manager. You should serve me right away." However, Adrian remained calm and did not let himself be intimidated. This seemed to further inflame Hugo's anger, and he left the place in a fit of indignation, shouting, "Do you know who I am to be treated like this?" Hugo, furious, kicked a garbage can at the exit, spilling its contents onto the street. The customers, surprised and outraged, decided to take action. A man grabbed Hugo by the arm and brought him back, forcing him to pick up the garbage he had scattered. Humiliated and furious, Hugo left, blaming Adrian for the whole affair. This event had left Adrian worried, fearing for his job at the cafe, essential to cover his university expenses. His anxiety grew until he found comfort in his grandfather Elian, who had always believed in his grandson. Elian, seeing how worried Adrian was, decided to do something extraordinary. He took a part of his savings and donated it to Adrian and his brothers, advising them to use it wisely. This sum was not only a financial help, but a symbol of confidence in the future of his grandchildren. Shortly after, Adrian and his grandfather went to the bank to deposit the money. When their turn came, the director Hugo recognized them immediately and, full of contempt, treated them coldly. When Hugo left the room without finishing their service, Elian stood up and, with the same calm that had always distinguished him, said, "It seems to me that you do not know who we are. Well, in that case, I will withdraw all my money from this bank." Hugo, shocked by those words, tried to downplay the situation, but it was too late. The next day, the news that Elian had withdrawn all his money spread quickly in the city. Want to show your support for this story? Like to let us know it touched you? It means a lot to us. Thank you so much. Hugo was summoned by the bank's general manager to explain the situation. "Can you explain to me why Mr. Elian Montrose withdrew all his funds and closed his company's accounts?" asked the manager. Hugo, pale and visibly worried, tried to justify himself, but it was clear that the damage was done. His reckless actions had led to disastrous consequences. Hugo's dismissal came shortly after. His arrogance had led him to underestimate one of the most influential people in the city. The whole community was talking about what had happened, and Hugo's departure from the bank was greeted with relief by many. Meanwhile, Adrian, after telling his grandfather how Hugo had treated him with contempt at the cafe, received an important lesson from Elian. "Victor, my dear," Elian said, "in life you will meet many people who do not understand the value of respect, but you have shown dignity, and that is the most valuable lesson we can learn." Did this story touch your heart? Leave a comment below. How would you react if you were Adrian?